Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at a genuinely brilliant micro-enterprise model coming out of Kenya. It's a program called MbuziPlus, created by an organization named Imfuyo. Now, if you're someone who loves seeing constraints turned into massive advantages, you are absolutely going to love this. We're going to break down how just a tiny amount of space, and honestly a shoestring budget, can be transformed into a thriving microeconomy for everyday folks.
Imagine having this huge ambition to build a dairy business, right? But then you instantly hit a brick wall because you just don't have the land or the budget for dairy cows. Well, that's the incredibly frustrating reality for so many small-scale farmers. But check out the brilliant pivot in this quote. By shifting focus to just 2 dairy goats, this farmer completely bypassed those massive barriers, successfully grew their herd, and immediately started providing for their family.
The contrast here is pretty striking. I mean, think about it. Traditional dairy cows are basically heavy industry. They require massive capital, tons of feed, and a huge land footprint just to survive. But dairy goats? They completely flip the script. They're kind of like the ultimate scrappy startup alternative. They demand just a fraction of the startup cost, they happily fit into really tight spaces, and their feed requirements are vastly lower. Suddenly, dairy farming becomes completely accessible to a whole new demographic.
So, this is exactly where MbuziPlus steps in. And it's not just a charity handing out livestock, okay? It's a comprehensive end-to-end dairy goat program engineered by Imfuyo to help farmers earn a steady, reliable income from goat milk. And the absolute genius of its accessibility? The entry point. The whole thing starts with just 2 goats. It is a completely manageable, bite-sized way to enter the dairy business.
Now, the core philosophy here is simple, but honestly, it's pretty radical. Small farm, small space, big possibility. It totally challenges that age-old assumption that you need massive acreage to be a successful farmer. Instead, MbuziPlus proves that if you have the right asset and the right system in place, even the smallest backyard holds immense economic potential. It's all about blooming exactly where you're planted, growing steadily, and building a better future right from where you stand.
So why goats specifically? Well, they're essentially a multi-tool for a family's physical and financial health. First off, you're getting incredibly nutritious, fresh milk right to the household table. Second, they generate a reliable stream of extra income. Third, they breed a lot faster than larger livestock, which means that initial asset multiplies really quickly. And finally, they comfortably fit into those small spaces. They literally check every single box for a sustainable home enterprise.
And the specific biological engine driving this entire microeconomy? The German alpine goat. You can usually spot them by their distinct chamois brown coat, those black facial stripes, and upright ears. They aren't just picked at random. They are chosen for very specific reasons. They are hardy, they're resilient, and they are phenomenal milk producers. The program relies entirely on the incredible biological efficiency of this specific high-performance agricultural asset.
But to make sure a farmer actually succeeds, you know they need more than just the animals, right? That's why the MbuziPlus starter kit is built entirely around risk management. Yes, you get the 2 foundational dairy goats, but you also get the essential feed concentrate to start them off right nutritionally. And crucially, this is huge, you get insurance for the animals. This completely removes that catastrophic risk of a lost asset, which is exactly the kind of thing that usually terrifies vulnerable farmers away from investing.
The entire journey is meticulously mapped out. It starts with training, learning exactly how to care for these specific goats before they even show up. Then comes enrollment, where the farmer actually receives the goats, the feed, and the insurance. Step 3 is production, when the milk starts flowing. Step 4 is protection, ensuring the support and insurance remain active. And finally, Step 5 is scaling, where the farmer organically grows their herd and their profits over time.
We never leave the farmer. This is perhaps the most vital promise Imfuyo makes. Think about how many agricultural programs are just temporary interventions. They drop off the supplies, wave goodbye, and leave the farmer to figure out the rest. Imfuyo flips that completely. By committing to stay with the farmer through those protection and scaling phases, they ensure that the initial 2-goat investment actually matures into a permanent, self-sustaining business.
But let's be real for a second. For a small-scale farmer, all the nice philosophy in the world doesn't really matter if the math doesn't work. It absolutely has to make financial sense. So, what can a farmer starting with just 2 German alpine goats in a tiny space actually expect to earn in this ecosystem?
12,000 Kenyan shillings. In a good production month, that is the target revenue. To put that into perspective, for a small-scale farmer operating out of a backyard, generating that kind of reliable monthly cash flow from just 2 animals is absolutely life-changing. We're talking about paid school fees, covered household expenses, and the ability to actually reinvest. But how exactly do we arrive at that specific number?
The math here is beautifully simple, and it's driven by a guaranteed buyer. With 2 goats, a farmer can expect roughly 4 liters of milk a day. The program ensures every single liter is bought at a fixed rate of 100 Kenyan shillings. So that's 400 shillings daily. Over a 30-day month, boom, there's your 12,000 shillings in gross income. And as an added bonus, selling the goat manure can actually push that profit margin even higher. Now, we definitely need a quick reality check here. Farming isn't a spreadsheet, it is a biological process. 12,000 shillings is an excellent target, but real-world milk production is going to fluctuate based on the specific animal, the changing seasons, and, honestly, most importantly, the farmer's management. How well you feed your goats and manage your space directly dictates your final yield. So there are no false promises being made here, just real-world variables.
When you step back and look at the whole picture, you see exactly why this closed-loop system is such a legitimate path to financial independence. The startup costs are remarkably low, the herd compounds quickly, the milk provides immediate nutrition, and it operates as a true business with a guaranteed buyer. It completely de-risks the entrepreneurial leap for everyday people, making it a highly structured and accessible reality.
Start small, manage well, grow consistently. Think about everything we've unpacked in this explainer today. By replacing the massive capital requirements of traditional dairy with an accessible, highly supported 2-goat model, Imfuyo is proving that huge capital isn't the only path to success. The most powerful economic engines can literally begin in a tiny backyard space. It really leaves you wondering, what other massive, resource-heavy industries could be completely revolutionized simply by shrinking the starting line?